All right, hello, welcome to the AM session, New York AM session Silver Bullet. I'm just doing my annotations quickly, making my annotations here, mainly annotating the opening range gap that we have seen for today. 10 a.m. medium impact news event. Nasdaq. Let me see the Nasdaq. For example, has some weird data issue there. But okay. This is the Tuesday opening range gap low, and this is the Tuesday opening range gap high. And with that said, the 50% was already met basically with what Nasdaq did. Sell-side liquidity is still resting, and it's still kind of clean. ES took out the sell side here and has yet to reach the consecutive encroachment of its opening range gap potentially right here. Anything else I need specifically? No, I think that's all right for now. The buy side liquidity that's linked to the consecutive encroachment is pretty interesting, and new week opening up right above it. So this is somewhat like my initial idea, I believe, for the silver bullet here. At least this is kind of what I like initially. So the consecutive encroachment of the opening range gap, coupled with the very clean relative equal highs buy side liquidity from pre-market after sell side was already taken out, and price is working off of this specific inefficiency right there, starting during the macro. So likely there is a likelihood that if this price run from this fair value gap clears the buy side and maybe into the new week opening up, even that would have been a silver bullet that I would look for, but it's before the 10 a.m. so I'm not allowed kinda to engage on this type of setup, which is fine, but nonetheless that's, I feel like, the most probable price run at this moment. We'll see. If anyhow price would fail to reach the buy side here, I would still be looking for that during the silver bullet, but it's bulking up quite quickly towards the consecutive encroachment and the buy side, and it's very clean level also, so it might go right into it quickly. And if that's the case, then I will need to probably wait and see what price will offer afterwards, which is fine, I guess. It's all good. But yeah, I would like to potentially participate in a setup that would aim for this pool of liquidity and the consecutive encroachment, but yeah. Will that be permissible after 10 a.m.? It might be, but if not, then then I will just look for something else later on. So yeah, so far it shows like initial potential failure to do so here. Took relative equal highs, so any weakness in here could set up a run a lower near term. All right. So 3 minutes still until 10 a.m. And the go-to liquidity pool, the draw liquidity, would be the buy side here for me, if it's still available and if it offers enough range to trade into it. And I guess there is no reason to go too ahead into the future right now and try to predict too much. So let's see. I could all right, so I will set up this order in here, or have this order ongoing, kinda. Have this order ongoing, kinda. With this as a potential draw, and I'll be navigating the specifics later on. But yeah, first of all, it would need to drop a little bit more, in my opinion, preferably, to offer some measure of discount first. 1 minute until 10 a.m. and the buy side is still there. So if we would start trading lower after 10 a.m., this is where I think it's gonna go to eventually. So I'll be seeking potential longs today. So nice. I guess I have a reasonably clear idea what it could do. There is still this old low sell side liquidity down there, so that's always like a factor as we are in close proximity. So let's see, let's observe the price, whether it offers any clean or clear setup towards this liquidity here. All right, so 10 a.m. Start. For a point of reference on the downside, we have this BSI, this fair value gap in here. And I don't necessarily want to be buying right away on it. I feel like I would prefer to give it a little bit of like chance to prove itself, whether it will repel price higher or not, because I have a feeling that we could just smirk towards this minor sell side and this old sell side here, and then maybe start ramping higher. That would make sense, in my opinion, at this moment. But yeah. Okay, let's reduce the contract amount to 5, because I'll be probably losing or need to use around like 10 handles stop anyway. So I'm watching this inefficiency in here closely right now, and how price will trade around it, because yeah, I see that there is potential risk that it could maybe be reaching for this low. But yeah, so we tapped into it here. Once there is a CB right there, tap to it second time, and let's see how it does, because as I said, I feel like it could maybe be sneaky and going for this low in here. That's how it kind of looks, especially as we have this old sell side liquidity down there. It would be pretty convenient to go there. Yeah, that's fine. That's pretty all right so far. So consecutive encroachment of this Bessie is my line in the sand in here, kinda. We are trading into it just now and closing below it. So I'm not interested in going long right away in here. I'll rather wait. Let me see the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is also falling apart in here a little bit. The Nasdaq has some weird gap in here, so I guess I'm lacking some data. I don't know why. That's how it looks like in here. And yeah, Nasdaq doesn't have a clear run higher because it already cleared out the buy sell liquidity on its own. Yep. So let's make this prepared order. Going in here. All right, so we tapped into, we closed below the consecutive encroachment here. And we might be leaving this to the upside. All right. I don't know. I'm still kind of a little bit not convinced, but but yeah, let's see if we can touch back into it and then respect the upper half. It still feels a little bit sneaky. I like the idea of going higher. I like the area in here, but it's kind of suspect. This low is kind of suspect in here. And the way it trades into it for the second time after we left, if we violate the consecutive encroachment again, then I think waiting for run on this low, yeah, I think I made a good decision not entering yet. I think I would be pretty concerned about my stop loss being at this low. Yeah, I think so. So let's maybe annotate this. So yeah, I like the buy side. I think the buy side is the way to go, but maybe we just need to take out the sell liquidity pool on the near term first, before that potential price run higher could unfold, and that would make sense for me, but yet still that remains to be seen. This low holds a lot of sell side liquidity, and just underneath that low there is old low sell side liquidity, so that holds even larger importance there. The way we traded into this BSC already here and here, yes, the bodies are respecting this so far, staying inside of it, I mean, but that can change. That can change over the next candle or two. We'll see. Only if we would leave this inefficiency to the upside again and then prove it, offer discount sensitivity, only then I would consider that potential long. But so far, look what it's doing. It's really reaching for this low right here, exactly, and that's what I wanted to see. Now it can still elongate this rally towards this old low sell side liquidity, and if we get that, then this should be enough to unlock a potential run higher against the buy side here, which is just too clean though. It's just too clean, too obvious, and that's what would make sense for me going forward with this idea. So let's see what we get eventually. Let's see if we can get this run on the sell side here. Let's see if we will get any inversion fair value gaps along the way. We'll see how it will go though. But yeah, I'm kind of sticking with the buy side here, and I was assuming that there is a likelihood of this being taken out into the sell side there first, and after that's done, then there is really then is really not much that should or could prevent for blah, 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 blah. My English today, lol. Yeah, I mean, after those sell side liquidity pools are met, then there is really not much that should prevent the buy side liquidity here from being attacked. But yeah, until that happens, we should see some elements to help facilitate the validation of that idea. So right now we are trading into this little fair value gap in here, which is the last fair value gap before taking the sell side liquidity here. So it's reasonably likely potential inversion fair value gap, but we have yet not taken the old low sell side liquidity. So I'm still waiting for the price, or allowing the price to potentially reach down there, because we are very close to it and we are in potential striking distance to it. And preferably I would like to see it being taken out here. I would feel way more comfortable going long after the sell side, the old low would be taken out, versus this being left like this. But let's see, 10 minutes into the silver bullet, the AM session, and we are rolling so far. No trades yet. The idea is there. The buy side liquidity is potential draw. I'm just like fishing for a setup that will make sense for me personally. Let's see, we have technically two ideas itself in here. So this as potential inversion fair value gap, or this as potential reclaimed bullish fair value gap. So I'm just waiting for the price to prove itself. Now it's trading to this CB, but already failing to inverse it, which is fine. Then I'm anticipating that we'll make a lower low, and the old low sell side liquidity might be still in play if that's the case. So let's just wait and see. So far the wick went way below it, but the bodies are looking to fish around the high of that inefficiency there. All right, so the bodies are not invalidating the idea of this being an inversion fair value gap. Now this next candle is pretty key to stay in the upper half and not really go into the lower half, especially as we posted this long wick right there. So it should not go much behind the consecutive encroachment of that if we are indeed going to fish for higher prices in here. Obviously, will that be the case? We'll see. I'm still kind of preferring it to snap the old low here, but if this stays like this and starts displacing higher, then I might not get that. So I'm kind of like risking a potential higher entry versus like the last confirmation of this being really turning around. So I guess that's fine, that's reasonable. Eventually this is a very strong draw. I don't think it will stay like this for a long time. Who knows, it might, but I think it's still kind of likely to get it though. But yeah, again, we are piercing into this inversion fair value gap, tapping into the lower half. It should not post any body inside of it if it's bullish, and it should be starting to run away from it. But again, I still suspect that a lower low is pretty manageable. Yeah, close below here, lower low is welcome. And then after this sell side in here is engaged, any bullish setup would be really something that I'm looking for to engage, right? And it's still kind of early into the 10 a.m. so I'm looking forward to see that happening, basically. All right, we swept this short-term low here. In my opinion, we should just snap below that old low because that's where the majority of the liquidity resides right now. And that liquidity could be bought up by smart money, then to send it up into those ratifical highs to unload it. That sounds like a perfect scenario in here. But yeah, still we'll see what we get after all. Yeah, the sell side in here is in crosshairs, so I'm expecting this to be attacked pretty soon, I believe. And then we'll see whether we get a bullish setup for a run on the buy side here. Besides that, I like how the Monday's London Open first presentation in here was perfectly respected and sent price lower like this. That's a beautiful reaction of that. Really masterpiece. Masterpiece of a PD array. Still fishing 2 handles, 1.5 handle above this old low. As I said, I would prefer to take it out first. That's what I'm looking for. And maybe then we can build some momentum to the upside. This is the ideal drawn liquidity, but yeah, maybe it will offer trade inside of that range. This is 40 handles ish of a range, so risking 5-10 handles to get 10-20 even without reaching the draw could be maybe possible this morning session, but yeah, we'll see. Still waiting. Still waiting for the old low to be taken out. It's in a striking distance right here. There you go. So it touched or tapped into the old low, sells a liquidity. I don't have any lower level on the discount side in here. Meaning that this is really deep into the discount range. And we have still yet to reach the consecutive encroachment of the discount opening range gap. And we have omega clean buy side liquidity up there. So lots of confluence in my mind is being built up to expect a potential run higher here. But yeah, again, I'm still waiting for some kind of setup in here, some displacement, some fair value gap, some inversion fair value gap, whatever I can really get. But I need some discount array to key off of a potential idea. And let's see if the next 40 minutes will allow for anything like that. We'll see, we'll see. That was still a very polite sweep of that old low. You could still see a little bit deeper of a perch, that's for sure. So yeah, still waiting, I guess. So yeah, I'm completely not in a rush with this idea. I have clear idea about what I want to do, but I need a PD array of choice, of my choice, which is a fair value gap, to work with it. At this moment I don't have any, so I don't necessarily have anything to work with. As I said, it could dive a little bit deeper or rate the sell liquidity a little bit more pronounced to the downside, which is obviously reasonable and fair expectation of running an old low. And yeah, we'll see whether the setup will present itself or not. But everything on the downside, in my opinion, was already cleared out. That would make sense to clear it out. And if we would expect it to go higher, which is reasonable with this buy side and the gap and the new week opening gap, so a lot of confluence, then we are kind of like free to offer a potential or form potential setup that's bullish. Nothing in here formed yet, but if it will, then I will definitely consider that. So I hope I clearly explained what I had or what I have on my mind. And now I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. So taking this old low in here, that invites a potential turtle soup idea with the buy side here. That's not necessarily the model that I'm using, so I'm not gonna buy it here just because it went below old low, but that's what I'm thinking, that this is an area where a turtle soup could possibly be likely to unfold. I'm using the fair value gap as my entry, or the order block if it's there, or both. So I need to I need the move, the turtle soup already to turn around and start moving higher, and then form a fair value gap so I can possibly get in, right? As a more like a continuation type of idea. But yeah, so far I'm just chilling, just waiting for the displacement, for the imbalance that I could use or that I could work with. There is no real fair value gap that I like in here, so therefore I'm waiting. There is a very small one right here. I see it, I make a mental note of it, but it's not something that I want to necessarily use. So let's wait. By the way, my chat is broken. I don't know why, but I'm disconnected and I can't connect to it. So I'm sorry, guys, if you are writing something and I'm not answering. But yeah, for some reason I just cannot connect or reconnect to the chat, which is a little bit annoying. But yeah, what can I do? All right, so we also got the run on the dollar index on this, or rerun on that old high here that I prompted during the London Open, that it's likely to, that the dollar index is likely to maintain some strength towards this deeper deeper run on the buy side, which could lead to the weakness on the indices, and that's what we've seen so far with that run on the old low. And yeah, that delivered pretty nicely. Because it already happened, because we've just taken old low sales liquidity, we've taken many sales liquidity pools along the way, because we have discount opening range gap for Tuesday, and we have beautiful buy side that's way too smooth, engineered right at the level. I think that we will snap higher eventually this session or today. But yeah, that's something that we'll see or not. So looks like we are making a little bit of a turn or turnaround in here, going back inside of the range, which the sell side is the low of the range basically. So I want to see price go back inside the range and then have issues or problems to trade outside of it. That would be pretty damn reasonable. Still waiting for a fair value gap to form. Maybe we can work with this as inversion, as we can, if we can go above it, or we can work with this as reclaimed bullish fair value gap. But until we go inside of those levels, I'm not having anything necessarily to work with right now. So let's see if we can get back inside of those, and then I would like to see them act as discount arrays, and then I would be more interested into buying inside of them with the idea that we can run towards the buy side here, and that would be kind of like the logic that I would like to apply. And yeah, then I don't even need to reach for the buy side here. Then I can just take my 1 to 2 and be content ahead of it. But yeah, so far no setup that's bullish per my silver bullet model. So I wait. It's heading to the 1030. Heading into the 1030, so that's like a sweet spot for creating a low of the day or low of the session. And after we've taken sales liquidity like this and left the buy side like this, it will either continue aggressively going lower after that time, and then we might see some large range day to the downside, or we will actually repel higher and start working back inside the range, which I favor that at this moment. And yeah, we might see a setup form in the second half of that silver bullet hour for the AM session trading. Yeah, Nasdaq also traded lower nicely. Nasdaq actually looks some like more bearish in my eyes in here than ES, and it puts a lot of pressure in here, which I guess is understandable because Nasdaq had those equal highs too, but it ran it out already. So I'm not necessarily interested in Nasdaq. I'm interested in ES. If I'm gonna go long, I'm interested in ES, and I want to attack the clean buy set here. So let's see. So far, price is showing initial unwillingness to continue lower outside of this range, outside of the old low that we just taken. So I'm watching whether we can either inverse this, reclaim this, or form a new fair value gap in here. These are basically the three opportunities, three ideas that I have in mind that I might be working with for potential entry purpose. So closing above this would activate this inefficiency in my mind as a potential inversion fair value gap. Yes, I'm kind of like aiming for a 10 handle stop around 250 bucks and 20 handles take profit for 1 to 2 type of idea. Let's see. So far I don't have a setup as it is right now. I don't have an unfair value gap that I can work right now with. Nothing formed. Price is slightly consolidating, which I don't mind that too much after taking old low. That's reasonable, I guess. But unless something forms, these are the only two inefficiencies that I'm looking forward if you can use as discount arrays. Otherwise, yeah, just waiting. It could make a lower low here. That would be actually interesting if it could, because then that would be a perfect opportunity to see whether price wants to continue on going lower or it wants to reject back inside the range. So yeah, that's kind of interesting to see how we will actually do that. All right, looks like we might see a potential lower low in here. And again, that's, as I said, that would be telling whether this should continue lower or actually reject and start working back inside the range, which I suppose would be like reasonable, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm also not trying to force a setup. It needs to be there first for me to engage it by any means. And right now there is no setup. So I just wait. I guess I have that benefit that I already know that I don't want to be short at this moment, and I have very clear focus of what I'm looking for. So if a setup presents itself, a bullish one, then I will just execute on it, but it needs to be there first. Six people watching the road to million with a silver bullet. 5 people now. Kudos to you guys. Kudos to you. Thanks for watching though. And yeah, the more people following, the more kind of like exciting it gets, I guess. But nonetheless, regardless if that will be one person watching or 100 or 1,000, I will be doing the same stuff, following the same process, the same model, and maybe over time this consistency will yield or start yielding proper progress. But yeah, we'll see. So far we are still at the very beginning of this whole endeavor. Right, price went into some measure of consolidation. It forms a measure of a bear flag in here. So I obviously would like to see this fail, and I would like to fade that idea of a bear flag. But yeah, 21 more minutes of this silver bullet here from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We started here with a clear idea of willing to be buyers, but allowing for the sell side to be absorbed first. And now all I need is a setup to form that's bullish, and I'm good to go. And yeah, we'll see if it will form. It might not, right? It might not, and then it is what it is. I will just not take anything then. If I will not get a bullish setup for this session, I will not be trading it anyway. I mean, then. So I'm trying to be very clear about it. We are reaching up into this fair value gap in here, which could be working as a potential inversion fair value gap. I am a little bit cautious about it because we already traded into it here, traded above it, and then it failed to offer any inversion fair value gap sensitivity, which makes it a little bit suspect. It still could work, but I would like to see it prove itself first. But yeah, for the price to do so, we would need to go above it on a closing basis first. And so far, we are not necessarily doing it. So yeah, I'm still waiting. Still waiting. So far, it looks like we made a turn here, or somewhat of a turn. It is still a little bit consolidated, but if we did make a turn in here, and the buy side is so clean, we should be picking up some speed eventually. If we will start moving back inside the range, it should be energetic, it should be with displacement and with speed. So there is like no doubt that it's gonna go higher, right? So yeah, we tapped into this here, which currently it works as a reclaimed bearish fair value gap, and it offers like initial resistance in here, here, and here. So for this to be bullish, we would need to go above it on a closing basis, and then any returns should offer higher prices, right? At least that's the theory. We are entering that, so let's see. 18 more minutes. Maybe it will offer something. Maybe. There is this wick in here. I like this wick though. I like this wick to support price on a higher basis. Let's see. So far we are digging up into this, how is it called? Potential bullish inversion fair value gap. Potential because we have yet to close above it and then prove that it's actually bullish. No close above it yet, so I'm not considering it at all. And now snap back into this discount week. So this is interesting area that would be somewhat aggressive, I would say. But if it's good and the time is running low, this could maybe act as a discount area in here that I'm nonetheless watching and studying. And a nice reaction in here would be bullish to me. But yeah, as I said, that would be somewhat aggressive with this sloppy price action in here altogether. All right, 15 more minutes for this 10 to 11 silver bullet. All right. We are losing the ground a little bit here, so looks like we might get this attempt this another attempt to make a lower low in here off of this reclaimed bearish fair value gap here. So the fact that it offered this nice premium sensitivity here, if we can get above it, then I would trust it more that it will be a valid bearish for bullish inversion fair value gap. But so far, let's watch whether we can get a run below this low and reject that or not. Because yeah, it looks like it's still working its kinks in here, kinda. This is an area where I would look or watch for potential SMT on the lows. So if ES would make a lower low and Nasdaq would not, I would be considering that SMT divergence that's useful. All right, so we can see that the ES just made a lower low in here. And at the same time, for some reason, my Nasdaq chart froze in here. I don't know why. This one works. This one went on vacation. But we can see that it did not make a lower low in here yet. Because that's the low on 15-minute. So there is a potential for SMT on the lows in here. And we are going into the 1050 to 1110 macro. So this is about like the key moment for price to either form this bullish setup in here or just not and just leave it then. So yeah, Nasdaq is still kind of close to making that lower low. It did not made it yet. I will refresh the charts here. Okay, so now it's working again. All right. So yeah, this is the Nasdaq making or failing to making a lower low yet. And this is the ES that made a lower low already. There is a very small little fair value gap. The last one ahead of taking the sell liquidity. It's slightly too small for my liking, but this could be an inversion fair value gap that sends price higher. And that might be one that I might execute on too. But it needs to close above it and then give me a nice touch. Alright, so I'm watching this little fair value gap here to become a potential inversion fair value gap. Why? Because that's the last fair value gap before running the liquidity. It's small, but nonetheless, it's there. And I'm kind of like starting to trust a little bit that the Nasdaq will not make a lower low and that this is actually SMT on the lows. And if we can go above this, then I like the little long idea. But so far it's not necessarily happening, so I'm not in a rush either, I guess. Yeah, Nasdaq is clearly refusing to match this low, to make a lower low. Nasdaq is clearly refusing to do so. Right. So that might be it, but we need to close above it though. I need to see that close. Last 8 minutes of this AM session that are tradable by me. And I'm looking really closely at this little thingy. If it can inverse. If it can, then I will take a long there. And I will aim for 1 to 2 risk to reward, risking around 250 for the trade. Yeah, because it's so small, we might be running right away. Let's see. I'm sticking to the idea that it needs to close above it, and only then I'll be entering. All right, so it did close above it, and the next candle opened and traded to it. So that's where I went long. And yeah, I'm in. My take profit is not that far though. Let me now describe what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 1 to 2, which will be met right here with this idea. So this is my profit objective. I still think it might reach up into those relative equal highs there, potentially. But that's all I need for this trade in here. Nasdaq SMT on the lows. Nasdaq running higher. Yes, having this as inversion, preferably. And we might see it offer a run. I mean, still a little bit tricky though, but yeah, I kind of like the idea nonetheless. After the sell side was taken with the SMT on the lows, with that low being swept and then reject, yeah, that makes sense to me. But yeah, let's see. Now I'm in, so we'll see what we'll get. It should be rather explosive move if it's good. Should be rather quick. I don't think it should spend much time in here if it's really good. So I guess it will be a quick I'm on site and it's working, or a quick I was like too ambitious about it, but yeah. Yeah, let's see. This starts to look like a bear flag in here. This impulse lower and now consolidation after we've taken the sell side. Still the Nasdaq making a higher low in here, refusing to match the low, which favors the idea that this was a stop hunt, which then supports the idea that this will be an inversion that's likely to deliver price higher. Obviously a lot of if then, but yeah, I guess I'm content and I will take whatever it brings in here. So now it's the market's turn to deliver. All right, I like this initial reaction here. That's definitely promising. All right, at this point I feel pretty confident that it should work, but obviously we never know until it actually hits the order, the limit. So let's wait, let's see. Very obvious buy sell liquidity here, obviously. After we've taken this low, everything is jumped above this, and my order is just 2 handles higher, so I believe if we attack this buy set here, it should have no issues to just tap me in, and I'll be el contento for this morning session, my friend. Again, kind of annoying that the chat, I cannot reconnect to the chat, so I can't see any messages though, if there are any. But yeah, when I'm in the trade, I like to look at the chat because that's the only thing that I can actually do then. Because in here everything is already done, and it either will work or it will fail. Okay, so I guess, or I assume that someone may wonder, why did I risk 250 again after I won yesterday? Shouldn't I risk the full $500? And yes, I could, but because I'm still in the drawdown, and I lost 4 trades in a row last week, I decided to take those 2. I mean, this today. We'll see how it will go, whether it will work out or not. But I decided to move out of the drawdown first, and then I will resume the max risk again. So yeah, we are tapping into the buy side here, and my take profit is very, 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 very close. So let's see if we can get it. All right, some initial rejection in here. That shouldn't be that much of a problem, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It should still be reasonable to take me higher. Yeah, by the way, I see that I risked slightly less than 250 on this position here, I believe. But I guess it is what it is. I'm still like aiming for that 1 to 2 anyway. So yeah, even if it's slightly less, then that's fine, I guess. Yeah, because the stop loss was actually supposed to be 10 handles. It was 8. 25, that's fine, that's all right. I'll take it. I'll take it. So yeah, I mean, if I want to match the 20, I would need to move my take profit to here. Then I guess I would match the 500 that I wanted to take out. But should I do it? Should I change it right now? I'm not really allowed to by the rules after I place it. So yeah, I'll just leave it as it is. But I guess if I did that and aimed for additional 3.5 handles, I should still get it, I guess. But yeah, it doesn't really matter in that terms. The only thing that matters is the process and its execution. Yeah, this reclaimed bearish fair value gap puts a little bit more work than I would like to see it offer in here. It's resisting the price a little bit harder than I would like to see. I was rather expecting to smash right on through it without much issues. I still think it's doable, but that's a little bit annoying to say the least. Let's see. All right. The limit order is definitely in the striking distance in here. And the last barrier is this reclaimed bearish fair value gap that we are respecting pretty strongly so far, which is problematic, admittedly. And well, I hope it will not turn around and go against me and make a lower low, which who knows? It's possible. It's possible too, but yeah, I'm just sticking to this. So whatever happens, and I will need to take it. All right, let's see how long it takes though. Let's see how long it takes. So the minor buy side that it just formed, that's where my limit is. So I believe it's still pretty reasonable and pretty doable. So yeah, it should be all right. But yeah, generally I never like to see price go into a consolidation after I'm in. I like to see it keep on going in my direction. But yeah, I guess we are still fighting for the couple handles today. But the entry had almost zero drawdown, like very small drawdown. And very little time was spent in a drawdown too. The majority of the time of this position is in profit actually, and it's close to the take profit actually, so even that. All right, so the limit is in the striking distance. We are just taking the minor buy side liquidity here, and it should just tap, make a touch there, and I should be done. Hopefully that will be the case though. And just give me a little bit more, and there we go. So guys, even though I cannot see the chart right now, I want to see W's in the chat, okay? I will rewatch the stream and I will watch the chat again, what you guys wrote, and I want to see W's right now, okay? There we go. There we go. So we got the W here. We got the win. Second win in a row. Well. Maybe after the losing streak last week, this week winning streak. Why not? Generally, I think this was a masterclass outline of this aim session. Being aware of it possibly going lower and then waiting for the end for the setup actually to form. And even though this was a very small inversion for value gap, that was the silver bullet that delivered a reasonably nice price run. I still think that we might be gravitating towards the buy set here. I think that's possible. I think that this position could have maybe been left and like portion of that left and then aim for that buy set here, but I'm looking only for just a little pound of flesh, 1 to 2 setup, and I'm done. That's the rules. That's what I'm sticking to. So let me show the account summary. So 407.5 was taken out. I was aiming for 500, but apparently I a little bit miscalculated the position size relative to the stop loss. It's a little mistake on my part there, but what can I do? These type of mistakes, I guess I can live with rather convincingly. So all right. It was a nice one today. Had to work for it, but it panned out, so that's great. 6 people watching right now. Kudos to you guys. Thanks for watching though. I will not be there today anymore because I traded, so rules are rules. I will be back tomorrow for more silver bullet action, and I will classically start with the London Open, so we'll see what we get. And yeah, we are almost break even, $100 down, and so max leverage will be back. So let me add the second win to the counter here. 2 wins, 2 wins, 4 losses so far. That's the balance, and because I'm using 1 to 2 risk to reward gearing, I'm basically break even. Yeah, if not the little miscalculation on my part with position size, that would be break even already here, but it is what it is. I will swallow that. I will swallow that a lack of $100 on it. That's fine. All right, so nonetheless, thank you guys for watching. I wish you pleasant reminder of the day, and we see each other tomorrow for more silver bullet action. So stay tuned. Bye bye.